चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयम् उदीरयेत् नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवत्या उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टकी कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। शृणुतां स्वकथा कृष्ण पुण्यश्रवणकीर्तन हृदयन्तस्थो अभद्राणि विदुनोति हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे। जय जय। So we will talk a bit about our eternal enemy, which we'll talk about. So in today's discussion, and we'll quickly touch upon how basically we can try to overcome it, how we can try to defeat it. So the sloka which we'll be reciting today is 8.9.2, 8 Canto 9 chapter, second verse, and this is basically the pastime of Mohini incarnation. Aho rupam aho dhama aho asya namam vaya iti te tam abhidrutya prapachur jata richaya. Anyone would like to recite the sloka?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, I'll try Prabhu.
Yeah, Prabhu, please.
Aho rupam aho dhama aho asya navam vayah iti te tam abhidruta paparuchur jata richaya. Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Any Matajis, anyone want to recite the sloka?
I will try, Prabhu.
Yeah, Mataji.
Aho rupam aho dhama aho hasya navam vayah iti te tamapi drutya paprachur jata hrichaya chayaha.
Thank you, Mataji. Anyone else wants to take synonyms?
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam Prabhu.
Aho, how wonderful, Rupam, her beauty. Aho, how wonderful, Dama, her bodily luster. Aho, how wonderful, Asyaha, of her, Navam, new, Vayaha, beautiful age. Iti, in this way, they, those demons, Tam, unto the beautiful woman, Abhitrutya, going before her hastily, Paprachatuhu, inquired from her, Jatahrits Shyaha, their hearts being filled with lusty to enjoy her. Haribol.
Haribol. Thank you, Prabhu. Haribol.
Thank you.
Thank you. Chaitanya Prabhu, Swastik Chaitanya, do you want to read the translation? Mamta Mataji, do you want to take up the translation? Mamta Mataji is not here. Himanshu Prabhu, do you want to take up the translation?
Yeah.
Prabhu.
Go ahead, Prabhu.
I think he has not unmuted. This was Venkat Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, Hare Krishna. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Jai Srila Prabhupada. Upon seeing the beautiful woman, the demon said, "Alas, how wonderful is her beauty, how wonderful the luster of her body, and how wonderful the beauty of her youthful age." Speaking in this way, they quickly approached her, full of lusty desires to enjoy her, and began to inquire from her in many ways. Hare Krishna.
Haribol. Thank you, Prabhu. So here, the background to this is basically we know about the Samudra Manthan, and then when Dhanvantari comes out with the pot of nectar, so the demons snatch it from Dhanvantari and they run away from there. So there is while to do that, while they have this pot of nectar, the most easy job to do is basically distribute this nectar among themselves, quite kind of quickly, equally distribute, take one sip each and then pass on to other. But unfortunately, because they were demons, they had this enmical qualities, and they started fighting among themselves as to who would have this nectar. Some even suggested that let demon have it. The stronger demon just keep that part because you are already strong. So let the demigods have it. So even they started envying themselves internally. So this was the situation. And at that time, Mohini Murti comes in, and she, by trick, she cheats them and takes away the pot of nectar. Or she gives it completely, she gives it to demigods. Now, if you see, beside this part of snatching and running away, if you see the rest of the thing, I mean, the way they have coordinated demons, which is something rare, which is unexpected. The way they have coordinated with the demigods, we don't see it very often, right? And plus, they have been doing their part very religiously. Also, they got the head of Vasuki, which was basically emitting fire and poison, so that their body was completely kind of under the tremor of heat. So they were continuously they tried their best, and they were doing it all well. But if you see, so you see, legally they had 50% chance of it. But now you try to cheat demigods, you snatch it away. Now Krishna, you want cheating, then Krishna is the best teacher. So he will cheat you better than what you can cheat anyone. So he's the best cheater. So he took the form of Mohini. Now Chanakya Pandit says that a poisonous snake and an envious person are both deadly, but out of both of them, it is still manageable with the poisonous snake, because with the help of mantras or with the help of some antidotes, you can basically cure a person. But in case of envious person, it is very difficult. They are even more dangerous. So Krishna kind of shows here that even the person is envious, you can still kind of control that person with the help of this thing, which is lust. So here, when they saw that Mohini Murti seemed to be cheating them, they still did not kind of initially they did not revolt against it. They did not hide. They kept quiet, because they had that thing, oh, if I speak up, probably this lady will stop speaking with me, she would stop being kind to me. So because they had this lusty desire on top of their mind, even if they knew that they were getting cheated, they allowed themselves to be cheated. So this is how powerful the lust is. So in purport, Prabhupada says that in Bhagavad Gita, so this Krishna actually says in Bhagavad Gita, this lust is basically nitya vairina kama rupena. So this is our eternal enemy in the form of lust. That is our eternal enemy, the enemy of the consciousness, the enemy of the soul. So Prabhupada says in the purport, Chaitanya Prabhu, do you want to read this purport? Are you still around, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu, you called me, Prabhu?
Okay, yeah, Vasant Prabhu, please. You can take this up. Yeah.
Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, Jai Srila Prabhupada. Nitya Vairina, eternal enemy, Kama Rupena, in the form of lust. It is said that in the Manusmriti, that lust cannot be satisfied by any amount of sense enjoyment, just as fire is never extinguished by a constant supply of fuel. In the material world, the center of all activities is sex, and thus this material world is called Maitunya Agara, or the shackles of sex life. In the ordinary prison house, criminals are kept within bars. Similarly, the criminals who are disobedient to the laws of the Lord are shackled by sex life. Advancement of material civilization on the basis of sense gratification means increasing the duration of the material existence of a living entity. Therefore, this lust is the symbol of ignorance by which the living entity is kept within the material world. While one enjoys sense gratification, it may be that there is some feeling of happiness. But actually, that so-called feeling of happiness is the ultimate enemy of the sense enjoyer. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. So here in this purport of 3.39, Srila Prabhupada talks about lust. He mentions, he calls this out very clearly, which you are quite aware of, is lust cannot be said. It is like a fire. So if you try to put some kind of oil into the ghee into the fire will not extinguish. It will be even much bigger and bigger. So this is like that fire. We cannot fuel the fire. Usually we have this concept wherein we say that if you try to satisfy your senses now, your desires will be fulfilled, and then you will be able to overcome it. It is one kind of theory that many people they hold it. So if someone has very strong desire, they say, oh, just go, or just do it, whatever desire you had, then probably you will go over it. But it is like the fuel that you are feeding to the fire, and you cannot overdo it. It is very difficult to do that. So Prabhupada says that this is Maithuna Agara. So it is like shackle of sex life. So in prison, we see that how the person, the shackle is, there is a chain that is tied to the feet of the prisoner for the crime that they do, right? So this chain is made of heavy metal, and it is very strong. So even if you go out to break some stones or do some activities that are allowed to do in the prison, that you're asked to do in the prison house, you still cannot run, because your legs, both the legs and your hands, would be tied to this chain. It is so strong that even if you see there is an opportunity, you may not be able to go through it. This is how this shackle is. It will keep the person bound to this prison house. So the criminals are obedient to the law of the Lord, are shackled by, who are disobedient are shackled by the sex life. So in spiritual life, we the scientists, we see this is the advancement of human being. The way we are advancing is basically we are trying to increase the comfort around us, or trying to do some kind of scientific advancements, which probably at this point of time seems senseless, like trying to see if there is some life on moon or on Mars. It doesn't make sense at this point of time. So probably if they spend the same amount to improvise the life, or focus on making the life better on this earth, then probably it would have been a better idea, right? Rather than trying to find a better life somewhere else. So once they, let's say they find something, they are successful in Mars or moon, and if they settle over there, from there they would think, oh, this is not working out, let's try something on Jupiter. So this would go on, because we are trying to approach this problem a wrong way, because we are trying to increase sense gratification basically by this scientific progress. We are not trying to address the main problem. So now Prabhupada says that in the purport, that lust is the symbol of ignorance by which the living entity is kept with the material, the shackles. While one enjoys sense gratification, it may be that there is some feeling of happiness, but actually the so-called feeling of happiness is the ultimate enemy of sense enjoyment. So, and sense enjoyer. So it is like loving your enemy. So you love your enemy much, but this is sleeping with the snake as well. So we know that we try to there is an analogy that Prabhupada says. So we sleep with the python, and python, every time he kind of bounds around us just to see how chubby we have become, and we think that the python is hugging us. Then one day comes that the python thinks, oh, we are chubby enough to be his food. Then he would swallow in the sleep itself. So this is what this lust and sense gratification is. So lust, probably by definition, when we usually speak about the sex life, but lust also by definition means basically a strong desire for something. I feel lusty for ice cream, which means I have a very, very strong desire, very strong urge to have ice cream. So this is what lust technically is. So we would on and off switch between these definitions of lust, but primary focus would be on the sex life. So now there is a world famous psychologist, so who goes by the name Fred Sigmund. So Fred Sigmund, he has this theory. His theories are very popularly used across the world. So for different practices, theories basically for different practices. So it is said that in Freudian psychoanalysis, the pleasure principle is the instinctive seeking of pleasure and avoiding of pain to satisfy biological and psychological needs. So it is just not the senses but the mind. He is an atheist, so he is speaking about this. He is classifying this separately and talking about it. And specifically, the pleasure principle is the driving force. And then he says the basis of all the relationship is lust. So this is very interesting, right? He says, he even goes ahead to say that the basis of even parent-child relationship is lust. So here lust is basically satisfying our own senses. So it is, if the child is satisfying the sense of the parent, trying to obey the parent, trying to fulfill the parents' desires to become, let's say in India we have this, like, so when the child is born, right now we don't often see it, but earlier he has only two future. One is as a doctor or one is an engineer. Unfortunately, he doesn't end up being any of them in most of the cases, but this is what it is, right? So they have this kind of expectation from the child, and if the child, we see that over a period of time is trying to go in some other way, for initially for some period of time the parent is unhappy with the child because the child is not satisfying his desire. So this is what this person meant. So everything is based on the principle of lust. So lust is so strong that no one can bring it under their control, right? From Vishwamitra to any common being or any animal, any living being. So Vishwamitra, we know, had been practicing this meditation for 10,000 years. So even while he had been meditating it, just by the sound of this anklet of one apsara, his meditation broke and he went into the Grahastha ashram for another 10,000 years. And then he realized, oh, what a mistake I have done. Then he again went into meditation for next 10,000 years. So such a person who had been meditating for 10,000 years was just dragged in or just hooked in by the lust. We can just imagine our situation. How worse we are already on the edge of a razor blade. So it is better we don't speak about it. So then so this question comes. So 10,000 years still lust was able to captivate this person. Why is lust so strong? Why is it so difficult to give up lust? Anyone wants to give it a thought? Why is it so difficult to give up lust? Any thoughts?
Desire, Prabhuji, their desire.
Yes, right.
And
So desire, why do we have so strong desire? What may be the reason?
to satisfy our own senses, Prabhu.
Yes, satisfy our senses. But still, these are there is nothing. No, all you have said is right. I'm just trying to dig deeper. So while you're trying to satisfy senses, why we have this desire so strong to satisfy our senses? So why the desire is strong? To satisfy our senses. So
We are thinking like we are the master and we don't have any master but our position is like a servant to the eternal master.
Haribol, yes, very close. So basically we have this desire is strong because this principle of lust is basically the transformation of our innermost desire to love Krishna. So it is Jivera Swarupa Krishnera Nitya Dasa. So it is an eternal emotion that we are holding through all the janmas, that we want to have some kind of relation. Nitya Dasa means basically some kind of relation with Krishna, and which involves love. So this love, this Nitya Prema, which is there in our heart, basically when we are in this material world, we see its perverted image in the form of lust, and that is why it is very, very, very strong. So Krishnaraj Kaviraj Goswami, he says that he defines lust and love as lust is something that when we try to satisfy our own senses, wherein love is something that when we try to satisfy the senses of the Lord. So basically real love is selfless, unconditioned love that we should have for the Lord. So hence it is very, very, very difficult when we only see that. So it cannot be any weaker because our love for Krishna is stronger, even though we don't realize it, but it is not. It is basically the perverted image that we are seeing, and hence the lust is even more stronger. Not stronger than the love, of course, but stronger than the love that we have realized. So now we see that anyone who has controlled this lust, basically they are respected. At least in Indian society, we see that, right? Like the sadhus and so rishis, sadhus, they are respected. So this is the reason why they are basically respected, because they have controlled over the most difficult enemy. That is why they are respected. And we have also seen in our history, right? So in our history, we see that these kings and other great rishis and all, when they have this control, or other leaders, when they control lust, what happens that they kind of turn out to be successful. But then the people, these leaders, when they fall prey to lust, then their fall down is very much imminent. So they tend to fall down. So that is why even Indra, he's always scared of the sadhus and rishis when they try to meditate and control the lust. And with the same thing, the thing that they are trying to control, with the same thing he tries to defeat them, that is lust. He sends Apsara, right, to defeat them. So that is why Indra is, because when we control lust, it is possible to control, get control over anything, or it is possible to go get anything that we desire, and that anything can be Indra's throne as well. Then that is why Indra is very much scared of these rishis and sadhus, and he always tries to keep some apsaras that we keep seeing, right, throughout our history. So in this world, we see that lust not basically only by human being, but lust is being experienced by anyone in this material world, any living being, one way or the other. So one typical living being, basically, if we talk an example, is the praying mantis. So while these insects, when they mate, what they do is, it is said that their courtship is a dangerous effort. Why? Because the females, after they mate, after they conceive from the male, they bite off the head of the male. Directly they bite the head of the male, they chop it off, and they start eating the other parts of the body as well. So the reason that says, the scientists assume, is because it gives more nutrients than that of, I mean, that would help them to get their fertilize their egg. But this is how they do it. They directly chop off the head. For us, we human beings, if we see this thing, then we would say, oh, what horrible this is. I mean, mate and chop off the head. It is kind of cannibal, right? So these bugs do it. And why do these male, they still go and approach this female bugs for mate? Because we can just understand, this is how strong their desire basically is, so strong of getting getting into this sex life with the female bug is so strong that they are unable to even resist themselves, even though they know that their head would be chopped off, but still they go. This is a level of happiness that they derive in their animal planet. And similarly, when you see in different animal planets, you would see animal kingdom, you would see that they vary at very differently. So in human beings, probably it would be more of a sophisticated, well inside the room, sophisticated. In animals, and it is based on the sense of touch. So in animals, probably when we see this mating that they do out in open, the dogs, cats, we may say, oh, how gross they are. What's wrong with them? This insect, what's wrong with this bug? Why they are chopping off the head of this male, right? We would think their way of mating as gross. But similarly, when we go up to the higher planets, the Gandharvas would be looking down at us as human beings and saying, oh, how gross these human beings are. What the hell are they trying to do? So at their level, their way of enjoying, their way of sexual enjoyment is more subtle. So they do at the level of sound, while we do at the level of touch. So when they sing, when they sing some songs, they have that highest pleasure of sexual enjoyment. So that is how they do it. And when you go up to the planet of moon, they do their level of enjoyment at the level of mind. When you go up to the planet of Brahma, their enjoyment is at the level of intelligence. So basically, it is very difficult to even understand the level of pleasure that they get at the kind of pleasure that they get at the level of mind and intelligence. So we have seen this Gyanis and all, they find pleasure at a level of intelligence, which is much stronger for them than to a bodily pleasure. So during school days, college days, I was very rare to visit libraries, but if I did visit, I would find this one or two studious guys who would be in the library as soon as it opens up, they will go through all the books, and then if by chance you end up sitting in the library till the end of the school, the end of the day, you find these guys still sitting over there. So they find pleasure in this book. They have no other objective. They find this enjoyment through the level of touch. They find it very gross. So they find higher level of enjoyment in this through intellect. So this is just what we talk about in the material plane. But when you go higher, it is even more purer than what we see over here. So Brahma's so Brahma's level of enjoyment is even more stronger, higher than what it is for us. We know that his body is made of intelligence, so he has this strong desire. We think that probably he must be sitting on the throne all day. Oh, what a boring thing, man. He has a boring life. We are doing at least doing some activities, but no, that is not the case. We cannot even imagine how strong the pleasure of Brahma is. It is very, very difficult to even to talk about it. And hence, as always, the shastras, they come to our rescue to basically they help us understand what type of pleasure we are talking about when we go in the higher planes. So in Anandavalli of Taittiriya Upanishad, you would find these verses. So this is the first verse. It says that now there is an assessment of bliss. So how do we assess bliss? Let it be supposed that a youth, a noble youth in the prime age, most swift and alert, perfectly whole and resolute, most vigorous and of good learning, and that to him belong the entire earth laden with all the riches, then we have in him one measure of human joy. Okay, so this is one unit, right? When even in science, what we do, if we have to find what is centimeter, we have to have a smaller unit called millimeter, and with the help of meter, 10 times of this is 1 centimeter. Then if we know millimeter, we can understand what is centimeter. If you know what is 1 foot, we can understand, we can try to estimate how much would be 20 foot. So we understand 1 foot is approximately the length of our arm, bit smaller, but so 10 times of it, this should be from there to there. So we get an estimation, we can do some estimation. So this is how unit of measurement can help. So in this case, in case of bliss, 1 unit of measurement is, imagine a person who is youth, who is in the very prime age, very youthful, strong, swift, alert, perfectly whole, no diseases, something of that sort. His intellect, basically he has all the riches, and he is kind of the ruler of this whole planet Earth. So that is 1 unit of human joy. Unfortunately, we are nowhere near even that 1 unit of human joy. So we just can assume that probably there is something, if there is some person that the joy that person experience is, let's say, 1 unit of human joy. So then in Taittiriya Upanishad, they go ahead and then they share what would be the other units in the heavenly planets. So 1 unit of this happiness, when we multiply with 100, is basically 1 unit of Manushya Gandharva. So Manushya Gandharva, in Gandharvas, we have also 2 types. So one is basically the heavenly Gandharvas, and one is the one that they exist on this earthly planet, but in a different realm altogether. So on this earthly planet as well, there is a different realm. There is a different realm altogether, wherein basically they these Gandharvas, they try to, Manushya Gandharvas, they stay over there, which we humans cannot have access to these areas. We keep hearing about it, right? In Mahabharata as well. Bhima, when he tried to get rose for Draupadi, he tried to access this realm, and then he was stopped, but he defeated those Gandharvas. He went in and got that lotus when he also met Hanuman. So that is Manushya Gandharva. That is 1 unit. So when we multiply this unit by 100 times, we get 1 unit of Deva Gandharvas, who are basically the musicians in the court of the demigods. Okay, so this is already 10,000 times of the unit of happiness. That is already more than 10,000 times of our unit of happiness that we are experiencing. So this, then when we multiply, that gives 1 unit of Pitras. That gives 1 unit of Pitras. So Pitras, they experience even more than that of Deva Gandharvas. And then when we multiply it by 1,000, we get 1 unit of Ajana Devas. Ajana Devas are basically the lower form of Devas that we see. And then when we multiply it from 100, we got Karma Devas. So Karma Devas are basically those people who follow the Vedic principles, and then they get a place, a seat reserved in the heavenly planets. So they are called as Karma Devas. So once their prepaid card is the account balance becomes 0, they come back to this earthly planet. Agana Devas are basically they try to assist the other Devas, so they are Ajana Devas. So 1 unit of this Karma Deva, which is much more bigger than 1 unit of the ideal happiness, not the ideal, the unit of happiness. And then when we multiply it then with 100, we get the unit of happiness of devas, the controlling deities that we are talking about, except Indra. Because now when we multiply this by 100, you would get the happiness of Indra. So now we can understand how much happiness Indra is experiencing as compared to what we are experiencing. We have no idea at all. So we cannot understand this 1 unit of happiness. We cannot understand, estimate what type of happiness that would be. We are still in this small 4x4 wall, and we just know that level of happiness. We cannot understand what level of happiness that is. So forget about understanding the happiness of Indra, which is much, much higher. So, but when we multiply this 1 unit of Indra into 100, we get 1 unit of Brahaspati. So this is the kind of experience, bliss that this Brahaspati experiences. And it's at this each level, it is not only like, for example, Deva Gandharvas or the Devas or Indra's experience. Sages who basically go into meditation at different level, they also experience these different units of happiness. So some sage who has renounced everything, who is deep in meditation, more attached to who is not attached to the sense enjoyment, at one level, as he moves ahead up the ladder of his meditation, and so he can also experience that 1 unit of Brahaspati. And then when we multiply that by 100, we get 1 unit of Prajapatis. So Prajapatis, we know they are basically responsible for generating population. And when we multiply that for 100, we get 1 unit of Brahma. So now we understand, we think Brahma, oh, he must be sitting there on the throne, what kind of enjoyment he would have. But now I have just lost the track of zeros. So we can just say that Brahma's happiness is something unimaginable. We cannot even imagine that. That is much beyond, much beyond than what we are experiencing. And that also multiplied by 100 gives 1 unit of Brahman. So people who have come out of the cycle of life and death and gone into Brahman, they basically have this, they enjoy this 100 times what Brahma is enjoying. So we can understand why people are basically trying to get into Brahman. I mean, one reason is obviously they're envious to Krishna, but the other reason is, rather than targeting Brahma, going to the planet of Brahma, they know that Brahman gives even 100 times more happiness than what the being in the planet of Brahma gives. But is this all? Is there something beyond it? The answer is no. So if we multiply this by 100, what do we get? I do not know what we get, but what the Upanishads says, that what the Acharyas say, what everyone says is, this 1 unit of Brahma is just 1 drop in what we known as Krishna Prema. It is just 1 drop in the ocean of Krishna Prema. So it is beyond imagination. We cannot imagine, and that is why it is happiness. If I have some pain, if I have some happiness, it is very difficult to help you understand what unit of happiness or pain that I'm suffering, right? It is always difficult to do that. Science or any other way, we cannot figure that out. So that is why our acharyas, it is very difficult for them to help us understand, because we are all at a different level of happiness, even within this small 4x4 happiness. It is very difficult for them to help us, but this is what this Upanishads help us understand by this measurement of 1 unit of happiness. So the biggest of this, what we can understand, is that we can go up to, what we can measure is basically 1 unit of Brahman, and that is like a drop, insignificant in what pleasure that we get in Krishna Prema. So that is what we can understand. So we must all understand that there is always much a better form of happiness. So if our mind is kind of disturbed, we used to pull in our intelligence, with the help of intelligence, and we need to remind ourselves, oh, there is a better version of happiness. So just pause before you act on something. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that by the help of intelligence, we should cut down this enemy of lust. So intelligence is something that would help us. This is a tool basically that can help us cut down this lust. So while we know that there are specific ages where this lust, the sexual desires, they are more stronger, but this actually prevails across all age groups. A person even with the age of 80 will have these thoughts of sexual desires. His body capacity, his bodily posture, condition may not be suitable, or may not be suitable, but in his mind he has this craving, still he has that craving, even if he is at the age of 80. So this is how we are. So this is very strong. There was one girl who walked out to professor during the day of submission of assignment, and then this girl walked out to professor and said that, sir, I'm really sorry that I was unable to submit the assignment today. I'm going through a lot of difficulties. It is too much. So sorry for that. I could not submit my assignment today. So the professor looked down at her and asked her. I mean, he thought probably that maybe because he's not able to explain the topics clearly. So he asked her out of that genuine concern, what is that? Is there something that I can help you? So she said, no, this is basically, I had a break off with my boyfriend, and we had a really long relationship of 6 months. Just 6 months of relationship. We may probably think, oh, 6 months relationship, what is she talking about? But her pain that she was actually experiencing was very much real. It was very much real. She was experiencing, probably we are not able to appreciate that, but it is very much real. I have seen my friends 1 month, 2 months into the relationship, they would start crying about it. My girlfriend, I think she's ignoring me, she has ditched me. Then they would resort to alcohol, they would start drinking alcohol. So that is and for us, we couldn't understand what is that. We could not anticipate what kind of emotion he is going through, because for us, because we had none, we used to like, it's okay if he's bringing in something, trying to order some food, then yeah, let's go and eat with him, there is nothing wrong. So we used to just go and eat with him while he used to drink. But this pain that he or she, if they are suffering, probably we may not experience, but that is real for them. And what is the way to get out of this? Find another companion, find another boyfriend, get another girlfriend. That is how they try to get out of it, because there is no better way that they have been told of getting out of it. While we know, thanks to Srila Prabhupada, that the better way of getting out of it is Krishna consciousness, because that is the topmost. But for these people, for them, the topmost is just sex, and that is how Maya presents sex to living beings. So for them, if one is not one partner, it fails, they try to go and mingle around with another partner, and that is why they can overcome that grief by trying to create another grief, future grief. So they, and if you ask them, hey, you know what had happened with your last girlfriend, do you really want to again go through this again? They say, no, I know that I will go through pain, but I think I am deeply in love with this new girl. And this cycle goes on and on and on. You will find they go through one partner, another partner, one partner, another partner. In Shastras, however, Vedas, if you want to still enjoy this, there is a way, and that is through entering into the Grahastha ashram, regulated enjoyment, and it helps us to evolve our intelligence, our consciousness. But if you don't do that, then probably we would go into this messy cycle, and we would end up over there forever. So Chaitanya Charandas says this attraction of lust is like a black hole. So I believe that we all know black hole, right? So it is considered to be a punch in time space in this material universe, wherein the gravity is so high that even light cannot escape it, and that is why it is black in color. We can see light when it's reflected from some object and falls on our eyes, right? Retina. But here it is so the gravity is so intense that even the light cannot escape from its grip, gravitational grip. All what to talk about other planets and other gross objects, material objects. And that is why we cannot see that. Actually, we see it as a dark hole in the in this realm of time and space. So this is a black hole, and lust is like a black hole. It attracts us at whatever position, maybe whatever type of practices we may do. This lust, like a black hole, it attracts us. It is very difficult to get out of this cycle of life and death. So the question is, now we know why it is strong and how strong it is. Now the question is, where does it start now? From where do we see that this lust has already started? And Krishna answered this question in 2.62. Dhyayato Vishaya Pumsan. So he says, while contemplating the object of senses, a person develops attachment for them, and from such attachment, lust develops. and from lust anger arises. So we starts with dhyato vishaya pumsan. So it is contemplating. So it is while I was in school days, on my route to school, I think the name of the restaurant was Prashant or something else. So while I was on that route, they were very famous, popular for pav bhaji, and at that time it was just the trend that the smell of pav bhaji, they would put an exhaust fan and they would throw it outside, so that people walking on the streets, they would smell it and they would be attracted. So I also had that. I also smelled it. It was so powerful, so intense. I was thinking, oh, pav bhaji was so nice. Dhyato vishaya pumsan. Oh, I'm contemplating. It was so strong. And but unfortunately, at that time, my parents did not give me enough pocket money that I would buy a pav bhaji for myself. And then my intelligence kicked in. I said, in my intelligence said, see, you don't have enough pocket money. And it is not a good idea to go there and eat something and run away without paying. You maybe get caught. So intelligence kicked in and it tried to kind of said, okay, leave away this contemplation. But I think it was not so strong enough that it somewhere stayed in my subconscious mind. So then last year when I happened to walk through that path, when my friends spoke about this, they said, let's catch up and let's have some let's eat something. So someone said, let's have some pav bhaji. So that quickly, that the name of that restaurant rang in my head. It was like more than 25-30 years or so, not more 25, yeah, but 20-25 years. So it was still there. I had not realized that. I was not contemplating on it daily, but the contemplation at that time, it was so strong. Dhyayate vishayan pumsan. It was so strong at that time that it impregnated it somewhere in my subconscious mind. And that is why when this pav bhaji word I heard, it quickly rang my. I said, oh, let's go to that restaurant, and we went over there. So this is how it is. It kind of starts from there. So so when we get it, basically we kind of feel more we feel more greedy, and if we don't get it, we feel very frustrated. We become very angry, right? Even when we get it, we become frustrated, basically, because we always get less than what we are told. So it is still a frustration whether we get it or not. So when we don't get it, it is through anger that when we get it, we see that, oh, it is less than what I have expected. So again, we feel frustrated. So for example, when we see someone in a picture, during seeing a bride or groom, sometimes we see someone in a picture, or even when we see some person, oh, picture, this person looks so nice, probably because he has the right amount of light or the kind of makeup. But when we see in person, probably at times the person may not be up to mark what from the expectation that we have built up from that photo. Unfortunately, we do not. Every person has some kind of faults or so, and we fail to accept anyone with the fault. So we have this expectation, right? And then we feel disappointed, and we start feeling frustrated. So this is the quality of Maya. Basically, what Maya does, she over promises and under delivers every single time, anytime. So let's say I talk about the travel plan. So when we have some travel plan, we may have some plans. We build, oh, this is what we'll do, this is what we'll do. We'll go to the beach, this and that. Maya will give us that kind of visualization and everything. We'll think, oh, this is the perfect plan I will have. It will try to give us that kind of visualization. Did someone say something? Okay. It will give us, it will promise us, Maya, oh, you will get it, don't worry, see, the climate is sunny, you will get everything. But then when you reach over there, probably you will end up with diarrhea. There will be heavy rains when you're planning to have some trip on this, where you imagined sunny beaches. It all fails. When we went to Georgia, our only trip, unfortunately. When we had planned, oh, so this is what we'll do. We spoke with this guys where we did homestay. We told them, oh, this is what we are. We don't eat onion garlic. We don't eat. We are vegetarian without onion and garlic. So they said, yes, perfectly fine. I will consider that only veg and without onion garlic. And we were happy. Oh, perfect. This is what we wanted. So need not worry. And we'll just go. We'll have some good breakfast. But when we went over there, we found the bread and omelette just beside the bread. So we asked for vegetarian food, but you served us omelette. She said, yeah. It is all vegetarian. I have not put any meat over there, just eggs and the bread. But then we realize, oh, for these people, even egg is considered as veg. So our plan basically was ruined of having food. So next day onwards, we brought some bread packet and we just probably fried bread or applied jam and we started eating it. So our idea of having breakfast outside was all ruined. So this is how our plans get destroyed. So Maya, she told us, she gave me promise, oh Santosh, don't worry, you will get the best different varieties of breakfast. There probably some local variety you would like, you would love it, and it is something as per your standard of eating, no onion garlic, no pure veg. But when I reach over there, Maya under delivered. So this is, and it led to frustration, it leads to frustration. So this is how it is. She makes promises of more, but then she gives us less than what she has promised, and this is the rule of material world that we have to understand. So Maya makes us accept this temporary arrangement, basically this pleasure, basically in absence of this eternal spiritual pleasure. We have seen the units, right? Even though we understand that unit now, but still Maya will kind of lure us into not even 1 unit of happiness, even one 10,000, I don't know, even much smaller than that 1 unit of happiness. Forget about Krishna Prema. So that unit of happiness, even such a fraction, Maya will attract us, and she will say, oh, take this and forget about the rest of the things, don't worry about it, just enjoy this. Every living being basically is ambitious of of the topmost of this pleasure. But unfortunately, Maya, in this material world, Maya always never fails to underdeliver, and we always feel unhappy. And even having known this fact, we again go and fall prey to Maya's tricks. So that is the law of material nature, and that is why you will always see us basically either lamenting, or you will see us either hankering for something. Sochiti kankshiti. We would either lament for something which is kankshiti, or hanker for something. Sorry, kankshiti is hankering and sochiti is lamenting on something. So basically sochiti means basically looking forward. Kankshiti means looking forward into the future, and sochiti means looking back into the past. So if you ask me, it is, we all know that it is, in the past is ignorance, in the future is passion, and when we talk about now presence, it is sattvic. But if I ask you, can you show me future, you won't be able to say, you won't be able to show it. If you say tomorrow would be future, but when tomorrow comes, it is all present. So what we are seeing is every time a present. And what about the past? Past is actually a memory, right? It is a memory in the present. So at this point, when you're thinking something, that is the past. It is actually a memory in the present. So whatever it is present. It is neither future nor past. But unfortunately, we try to dwell on this future and the past things, and always we have this sochiti, kankshiti. So it is never possible. So, but devotees, what they do, they try to live in the present. They always think, oh, how do I use this moment in service of Krishna? And they know that future will be automatically being taken care of. That has already been done. Even the future is being taken care of, and past, it has already been taken care of. So still we end up dwelling on these things. That is how powerful Maya is. So sochati kankshati. That is what it happens. So there will be a very up and downs in our spiritual life when we try to when we understand that we have to serve for Krishna now. We have to spend this time. We try to get into spiritual life, but there will be always up and downs in this spiritual life. And it is not a matter of if, what happens if I fall down. Oh no, that is not the question. The question is when. So it is very sure that we will fall down at one point of time. Either it will be a 10,000 feet fall or 5,000 feet. We do not know. It can vary. But the question is when it will happen. And what happens, what is the response that we should do when it happens? So like, for example, when we dance in kirtans and all, when the kirtan is at its peak, we dance, we jump, and sometimes our legs slip, we fall down. What does the devotee do? Does it go into the corner and start crying? No, it gets up and again starts dancing. That is what it is. That is what it matters. Even for Krishna, it doesn't matter whether you fall down or you are dancing. If you fall down, it doesn't actually matter for Krishna. What matters for Krishna is how fast you get up, and continue with the same enthusiasm in this path of bhakti. But if we kind of if a person is he has that pride, he has that he's arrogant, oh, I fell down. Usually when you fall down, sometimes some people have read, they fell down, they feel shy. Shy basically is not shy, because their pride is hurt, and because their pride is hurt, they kind of feel disheartened, and the enthusiasm decreases. So if we have that pride, when we fall down spiritual, oh, I have fallen down, now what? I cannot get back. I cannot. People, what will people say about me, or this and that thing? When we sideline, or focus goes away from what I will do for Krishna to what people will talk about me, or how my senses will still remain gratified, then it is a failure. But otherwise, Krishna actually doesn't bother whether you had fallen down how many times. He just says, oh, this guy is getting up every single time, because Krishna knows. Devi Yeshu Gunamai. So Mama Maya Duratya, he knows that his energy is very strong. Devi energy, it has to be strong. We have no chance standing in front of Krishna, and standing in front of Maya. And if you see Bhagavad Gita, it is full of stories of failures, right from Brahma to Jad Bharata, and many other stories. They are all about failures. So there are many stories of failures in Bhagavatam. But having said that, it is not about falling down. It is about how fast these devotees, they got up, and that is why they are glorified, right? We speak about them all the time. This is how they get up, and that is why we glorify them. And what do we do in our case? We pray to Krishna and Radha and Prabhupada, that hey Prabhupada, hey Krishna, Radha, I am so fallen down. I am so weak. I am unable to serve you. I cannot. I think I cannot. This is the best I am trying to do. Please help me. This is what I can do. I know I am useless, but please help me. Tell me how I can serve you. So when we have this prayer mood, then Radha and Krishna, Prabhupada, our gurus, they will pick us up. They try to pull us, because they are beyond this reach of Maya. So they will throw a rope, like a person who's drowned in ocean. With our own endeavors, we cannot try to get out. We cannot cross ocean. But when there is a helicopter, rescue helicopter, when they throw a rope from up, when you hold the rope, catch hold of it very strongly, then when the helicopter lifts us up, we are out. We are saved, right? So this is how it is. So when Prabhupada Acharyas, when they come from the helicopter, they throw this rope. Our only work is to hold this rope very tightly. That is basically following the the guidances that are given by the Acharyas and the Shastras. When you hold on to it, the lotus feet of Krishna, very tightly, and no Guru, we can be saved. Or otherwise, it is very difficult. If you go out and say, hey Maya, I have been practicing brahmachari for last 10-20 years. Hey, you cannot touch me. I am very powerful. Then Maya says, oh, is it? Let me, I have not even showed half of my trick. Let me show what can I do. And what she will do, she will give the simplest of all the things, and then you will fail. Saurabhi Muni, right? Saurabhi Muni. So he was meditating inside the water for thousands of years. I cannot meditate on my mantra for even a minute. He was meditating inside water, so we can understand what level of meditation was. But how did his meditation break? By lust. And what was the reason for that lust? He saw two fishes kissing each other. That's all. Two fishes kissing. If we have fish tank, we see that very often. How much time we feel agitated by seeing that? Almost none. We don't feel agitated by it, right? We don't feel lusty by seeing that. But this person who had been controlling his senses on his own endeavors, on his own strength, he was trying to control for thousands of years. He failed just by seeing this two fishes together. So this is how it is. Maya knows. She knows very much what is going on within us. She has kind of got a hook within us. The hook of Maya. She has got within us, very sharp. It hurts us. So it has a hook within us, and she knows, hey, when is the right time that I should pull this hook, and by what way I can do it. She knows it very well, more than we know ourselves. So she will push that button when that right time comes. She will push that button. And what is the right time? When we have the little pride within ourselves. When we have that pride, she will, in the spiritual path at least, when we have this pride, she will push the button, and then catch. It is hooked, and she again pulls us back into this material world. So this is how strong it is. So Prabhupada said once that the problem is basically we are not afraid of Maya enough. So that is what Prabhupada says. We think that we could overcome Maya very easily. We are not afraid of Maya enough. We are unable to appreciate how powerful she is, because we are living with her. She is giving a sense that we are enjoying it, and we are unable to understand, oh, this is all the pull of Maya away from, taking us away from Krishna. And we underestimate her more than we can underestimate anything else. We underestimate her, right? And we think that Maya, we are not afraid of Maya, and that is our problem. And then Prabhupada says that we should first appreciate this fact, and then we should pray to Krishna. We know who Maya is. So in it is said in Brahma Samhita, Sthiti Pralaya Sadhana, Shrishti Sthiti Pralaya Sadhana, Shaktir Eka, Chalaya Yasya Bhuvanani Bibharti Durga. So who is Durga? Who is doing Shrishti, Sthiti and Pralaya, which is creation, maintenance and destruction. So that is Durga. What are we doing? Nothing in compared to what she is doing. Single-handedly she is doing. Obviously, I mean, she is the potency of the Lord, but single-handedly she is doing everything: creation, maintenance, destruction. How I'm going to challenge her? If we think that, oh, we become proud enough and we think that, oh, Maya cannot touch me. Oh, is it? Let me push this button. Let me pull that hook out of it. So what is the only hope that we have? Our only hope is Krishna and the devotees, no one else. So interestingly, Krishna also has a hook. And what is that hook? This is the hook of Krishna. Very beautiful, right? And it is very painless as against the hook of Maya. So this hook of Krishna, it is even much deeper. Krishna knows us much better than, if Maya knows you well, Krishna knows you better. So Krishna knows you very well. What is there? His understanding of us is even much deeper. And so Maya, probably when Krishna puts in hook and tries to pull us, Maya gives up. He says, okay, my boundary is still that. Now Krishna has taken responsibility of this person. So this is what it is. So devotee, there was a devotee, Maharaj. So he was a disciple of Srila Prabhupada. But then after a few years, he left the movement, and he went back to his normal life. He got a job. He was into this movement in his initial days, in his college day, youthful days, and then he got a job. He started working on that. Then one of the co-worker, a female co-worker, she approached him and she said, hey, I heard about this Hare Krishna. And during that time, Hare Krishna was the buzzword. So I heard about Hare Krishna. Can you please take me over there? I do not know what this thing is about. Since I heard that you had been in this Hare Krishna movement, it would be good that you accompany me. He said, hey, lady, I'm away from this. I'm out of this. Please do not try to pull me into this. You please manage it yourself. But then she was very persistent. She pushed him again and again. Then he gave up. He said, okay, let's go. But I would not be walking you around. You go in. I would be standing somewhere at the corner. She said, perfectly fine. And that is what she did. She took him with her to the temple, and he was standing somewhere in the corner, and she went around seeing the deities, and some old faces, they came in. Hey, Prabhuji, where are you? I have never seen you, Prabhuji. He said, oh, I'm not Prabhuji anymore. I'm so and so person. No, Prabhuji. Said, okay. So he tried his best to stay away. Everything was going fine till the time when this Guru Arti came up. So even still during the Guru Arti, the most of the time he was perfectly fine. But then at the end, when we show chamar, when we offer chamar to the deities, when he saw the chamar went up beautifully. It danced, and it in a very beautiful way. It came down. The way this beautiful women walk. So it came down the same way, right? And when he started singing, something happened to him, and he started crying profusely. And he said, "Hey Krishna, what I have done? What's wrong? What I have done? I'm unable to understand why I tried to get away from you." So what he did was he tried to build a wall around himself to keep himself away from Krishna, right? And all these walls, even though he had built, Krishna knew a small hole within this wall. So in dam, when you see this big dam, they supervise this dam every day, almost every day. If a small crack in the dam, the whole dam can collapse. So here as well, if there are small cracks within this wall, and Krishna knows this very well. This person tried to build a wall against, around him against Krishna, but Krishna pulled with his hook. He pulled him out, And you know what service he did before he left Krishna consciousness? He was pujari. So he was pujari. He used to do puja to deities regularly, and then he used to show chamar, show chamar to Krishna regularly. And do you think Krishna will leave us? No, he won't. He won't leave us. He won't forget this small seva that this devotee has done. Krishna never forgets. We forget what Krishna has done for us, but Krishna never forgets. He had this hook and he said, wait, when the right time comes, I will pull it. So like Maya, Krishna also waits for the right time. Both wait for the right time. And what is the right time of Maya? When we are pride. But when is the right time of Krishna to pull? When we feel humble, when we feel humility enough. So he says, okay, you want to enjoy material life, you think you want to enjoy, go please enjoy. But then at a time comes when we start frustrating and when we are humbled by this Maya, then Krishna pulls his hook and then Maya removes her hook when Krishna pulls his hook. So this is how Krishna, being attached to Krishna can get us out of cycle life and death. Otherwise, it is impossible. Once we are into the cycle, it is impossible to get out of the cycle of life, this dirty, messy cycle of Maya, Maya's lust. So Krishna and Acharyas and Vaishnavas, when we show humility, when we serve them, they will pull us out. So this is our only hope. That is what it is. It is our only hope. So else in this situation, like the demons, right? When that we spoke in this verse, at least these demons, they were attracted by the Vishnu Rupi female form, Mohini Murti. For us, we don't need Krishna to come and kind of distract us. Anything and everything can distract us. They can attract us. Even on screen, when we see someone dancing beautifully, singing beautifully, looking beautiful, we are attracted to that person, right? We are attracted. We get captivated. For them, it took a lot to captivate them. At least they are better than us. But for us, it is just something. Even on screen, something can pull us. It can captivate us. So we are in a very worse situation. We are very weak. And when we are weak, the only way is to get protected by a stronger person. And who is stronger? It is Krishna and the devotees. So Krishna, there is no other shelter to us, Asher, than Krishna's devotee, association of Krishna, Prabhupada, his devotees, all the Vaishnavas, Prabhupada's books, Japa, Prasadam. So these are only our ultimate, protection, Ashraya. And with the help of little intelligence, that is also required. Right? With the help of intelligence, we spoke about earlier. With these things together, then we can try to unhook Maya from us, and we can stay onto the lotus feet of Krishna, and just break the shackles of Maya, which is binding us. So our only hope is Krishna and the Vaishnavas. So to summarize, I will again go to the purport of 2.62, where Prabhupada mentioned that he summarizes this what he spoke. The senses require real engagement, and if they are not engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord, they will certainly seek engagement in the service of materialism. We have seen that, right? One girlfriend gone, I want another girlfriend. One boyfriend gone, another boyfriend. It goes on. If no girlfriend, if I am not getting another girlfriend, resort to alcohol. Let's be a drunkard. But we need some kind of material senses, need some kind of engagement. Mind wants something here and there. When Haridas Thakur was a young devotee of the Lord, he was similarly allured by the incarnation of Maya Devi. But Haridas passed this test because his unalloyed devotion to the Lord Krishna. Because that is what we understood. He is our only hope. He is the only one who can bring out of this cycle, who can help us from Maya. Else, on our endeavors, we are a failure for sure. As illustrated in the above verse of Sri Yamunacharya, a sincere devotee of the Lord. A sincere devotee of the Lord, Krishna shuns all the material enjoyment due to his higher taste for spiritual enjoyment in the association of the Lord. And who has given this spiritual enjoyment, higher taste? Krishna, Prabhupada, right? He said that you are able to overcome this all the LCD and all those drugs because I have given a higher taste. What is a higher taste? Krishna. And this is the secret of success, Prabhupada says. One who is not therefore in Krishna consciousness, one who is not in therefore Krishna consciousness, therefore, how powerful he may be, by mystic yoga or social status doesn't matter. He may be in controlling the senses, artificial expression, it is ultimately he is bound to fail. We have seen examples in history as well, it is bound to fail. For the slightest thought, very simple. She will not took fishes, they kiss. I mean, who would think about it? But it worked because Maya has that hook. So the slightest thought of sense pleasure will agitate him to gratify his senses. So there is, Maya always has that hook within ourselves, and we have to take out, unhook this thing of Maya. We have to hook ourselves with the association of the devotees and understand Prabhupada's book, and we have to take the shelter of the lotus feet of Radha and Krishna and our acharyas. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So I pray to Radha Krishna Prabhupada that I have always been a failure in this to fight in this trap of Maya, and whatever I tried from my endeavor is always failed. So please, Radha Krishna and Prabhupada, Guru Maharaj, I am this is probably this is what I could have tried with my effort, because I am a complete failure, a complete loss. So I totally rely on you to pick me up. So kindly show your mercy and hook me with your mercy, so that you can pull me out of this Maya. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. So credit goes to Shri Radhika Raman Prabhu and the different articles from Back to Godhead, and obviously Srila Prabhupada for his wonderful purpose, his explanation that he has put throughout Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam and other books. Hare Krishna. Thank you everyone. Thank you, Mataji. Over to you, Mataji.
Hari Hari, Hari Bol, Prabhuji, amazing, excellent presentation, Prabhuji. As usual, wonderful presentation with profound details. So much to learn from today's session. So first, I would like to invite Sadhu Sevana Prabhuji to share his realization and comments. Sadhu Prabhu?
Yes.
It's okay, Prabhu. You can show your face. It would be good for us.
Hare Krishna. Yes. So thanks a lot. First of all, Preeti Saurabhi, Madhvi Devi Das Mataji, very, very nice melodious kirtan after long time, and really enjoyed. We always have a connection with your kirtan. We took birth when your sound was around. So
yes, Prabhu.
In case
undoubtedly.
So it is always and Sant Prabhuji, okay, your this last 45 minutes or 1 hour, Prabhu, it was like Goloka. How, Prabhu? In Goloka, you touch anything, even a small stone, it is a gem. Any tree is Kalpavriksha. Any point of your entire session, Prabhu, we touch, it was full of bliss. I really enjoyed from our heart. Thank you so much, Prabhu. A few of the points which I really like, especially was that Maya over promises and under delivers, whereas Krishna never promises anything. In the sense, it is called he's Abhigya Savrat, right? Harinam is free to give its mercy, but we hear those things like theoretically Krishna is bound to give us his mercy, and without even asking, right, without even promising that he'll give the mercy, he's giving it infinitely. So that is the difference. Prabhu, with your permission, I will just Srimad Bhagavatam 2.1.3. Nirdaya hiryate naktam vaya vaye nacha vaya diva charthe haya rajan kutumba bharanenava. Its translation is exactly very close to Prabhu, what today's shloka, Prabhu. Translation is: the life of such an envious householder is passed at night, either in sleeping or in sex indulgence, and in the daytime, either in making money or in maintaining family members. So the point here is, Prabhu, it is like, what do we call a person as dacoit? When the person takes away something very precious from us without we having any of our control in stopping that person is called dacoits. Now, Maya, in the form of lust, most apparently, or like sleep, it comes and we do not have any control. And it is snatching all our lifetime. Which lifetime? Not the animalistic one, which is anyway there always for the sense gratification. A pig does not know with whether the pig is uniting with its sister or its mother or its neighbor, or right. Pig does not have that consciousness to with whom it is mating. We, with the today's example, like you told, on the time frame of demigods, 6 months, our 6 months is equal to their 1 day. If one demigod is opening our eyes every like say blink of its eyes, right, or maybe next morning he will be seeing us, or Brahma, but maybe demigods will need 1 day or or okay, maybe 1-2 weeks or 5-10 weeks. Brahma, if it is blinking its eyes, he is seeing us like exactly like pigs. So so we are so blind, Prabhu, that we are not able to see what we are doing, and your session will really help us to remember this, Prabhu. And very last point, Prabhu, that hook, Maya's hook is half, right? And if we just take a mirror image of that and join with it, that becomes Krishna's hook. So Maya is just Mrigari, right, Prabhu? Mrigari kills an animal half. It does not let it die. That is what Maya is doing with us. But if we, I mean, we have to be surrendered to the Lord so that we are completely safe into His hand. Thanks a lot, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thanks. Nice imagination again there, Prabhu, as always. Haribol, thank you for your blessings. Hare Krishna.
Hari, amazing, Prabhuji. Hari bol. And now I would like to invite Adisundari Madhavi Devi Dasi to share her comments and realizations.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Pranam. Hare Krishna, Pritha Mataji, for a wonderful Kirtan. Really, very nice, Mataji. And Sant Gopeshwar Prabhu, wonderful class. Actually, wonderful class. Very simple, very
non-technical.
Yes, non-technical. We can say yes, Prabhu, and very blissful also. And Prabhu, I like that slide, that one, hook of Maya and hook of Krishna. This is really touching, Prabhu. And like as you said, the hook of Maya. Actually, I feel Krishna's pure devotee is like in front of Maya. He is more stronger than Maya. Like he can pull us easily. So yeah, that's all, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you. Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you for blessings.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Now I would like to invite Himanshu Prabhuji for sharing his realizations and comments.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji, for hosting today's session and also for the Kirtan. Sant Prabhuji, today I see you as a teacher, who is determined and he's trying to the best of his capacity to help the students in whatever way he can, and he's put everything from everywhere to tell the problem, which is very realistic, and also to give examples to soothe that you're not the only one. Everyone goes through it. Even the great personalities go through it, and then giving the solutions to the problem. So I believe that nothing else can be done from a teacher or from Krishna to tell us. Now it is up to us. So I still have doubts over myself, knowing myself, but maybe I can improve a little bit from here. But I definitely see and pray, and I believe strongly that Krishna will bless you to conquer this. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu, for your blessings. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Sri Chaitanya Das Prabhuji, could you please share your realizations and comments?
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Sorry, ड्यूटी इसलिए बीच में प्रभु पढ़ने के लिए बोला नहीं पढ़ पाए.
No worries. Sorry, I was aware, Prabhu.
Okay. बहुत अच्छा रोजी, बहुत अच्छा क्लास है. दोनों के कैसा कोर करके लिखे है, बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है, उसको अच्छी तरह से समझाया था। फिर भी मेरे थोड़ा से इसमें से आपका अच्छी तरह से 2.60 रूल से कैसा काम का शुरू होता है, 3.5
36.
3.36 Prabhu.
Yeah, 3.37 3.37 कैसा उसको गुण का द्वारा बदलता है, और 3.38 में आएगा तो उसका कैसा वृद्धि होता है उसके अंदर, कैसा वृद्धि करना, काम का कृष्ण के द्वारा वृद्धि करेगा तो डाउन होता है, और इसमें जाएगा तो शरीर के संबंध में जाएगा तो उसको नाश करता है। ये दोनों का उसमें समझ सकता था, बहुत अच्छा लगा, आपको एक्सप्लेनेशन भी अच्छा है। इसलिए ऑलरेडी आपको दूसरा था आनंदामृति का हर फल का आप 100% कैसे इंक्रीज करके गया था। इसमें थोड़ा मेरे एक छोटा सा एक ऐड करना था, कैसा है क्योंकि उसमें भगवान चैतन्य महाप्रभु त्रिनादपि सुनिचेन तरोरपि श्रीकृष्ण अमानिन अमानिन कीर्तन आनंदामृति वर्धनम प्रतिपदम, भगवान को कैसा है वो आनंद का इतना भी वो सभी लोग के आनंद बढ़ते बढ़ते रहेगा, फिर भी वो आनंद पूर्ण नहीं होता। तब तक भगवान का हरि का नाम, लास्ट में चैतन्य महाप्रभु का लिखा के देखा था, बहुत अच्छा लगा कि चैतन्य महाप्रभु का एम यही था, आनंदामृत वर्धनम प्रतिपदम पूर्णामृत स्वादनम, हर पल में वो आनंद बढ़ने का। तो कैसा बढ़ेगा, भगवान का हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र से द्वारा ही मिलेगा, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। ये भगवान का ये वाणी का हर फल में हमको लेना शुरू करेगा, तभी हमको ये आनंद शाश्वत रहेगा। ये बाकी आनंद पूरा बढ़ते रहेगा, बट एंड एक एंड है, बट ये इसका एंड नहीं है। चैतन्य महाप्रभु का द्वारा दिया हुआ हरे कृष्ण महामंदिर के लिए एक एंड नहीं है बोल के मैं समझा इसमें से। थैंक यू प्रभु जी, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। हमारे कीर्तन भी वेरी नाइस, मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगा, पर स्टार्टिंग में थोड़ा मैं 5 मिनट लेट आया, इसलिए सारे पूरा नहीं सुन पाया। हरे कृष्ण, धन्यवाद।
थैंक यू प्रभु, थैंक यू फॉर ब्लेसिंग्स। हरे कृष्ण प्रभु।
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Now I would like to invite Venkat Prabhuji to share his comments.
Hare Krishna, Dhanavad Pranam to all Vaishnavas. Mataji, yeah, it was very excellent, Mataji. Still, actually, I wanted to ask you to extend it. Unfortunately, I could not make it. It was very nice, Mataji. And Prabhuji, Prabhu, it was very excellent class, Prabhu. This joy meter was very excellent, so that we can understand what micro unit of pleasure we are getting from the material. We are thinking it as a micro to mega. We are thinking it as a big joy, but the actual joy you have explained with the meters, it was very nice to explain to even non-devotees also. It was very excellent. It was thank you for sharing that data, Prabhuji. And that hook also, it hooked me up also, Prabhuji. Not only say, as finally you touched the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, yeah, it was a very excellent ending. So we need to hear, chant, and remember Lord's name form in this all our lifetime to go back Godhead, Prabhuji. So with your mercy, thank you for sharing this class today, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you for sharing your thoughts. Hare Krishna. Thank you for your blessings.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Now I would like to call upon my Prabhu to share his realizations.
Hare Krishna. Thanks, Preeti Swarupini Madhavi Devidasi, for wonderful kirtan. And Sant Gopeshwar Babu, very nice topic. We all know like how we are struggling with our own self gratification and attached to Krishna. It is not so easy. Each one can be seen like to the outside world as they are great devotees or they are able to practice devotion service in a very easy manner. But we are our own judges, correct? Like one time, Srila Prabhupada was praying in front of the Lord, and his disciples were asking, Prabhupada, what you have been praying to Krishna? And he was saying, like, please protect me from Maya. Then they were surprised. So Prabhupada, like, hey, you wrote these many translations of Srimad Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. Why you need to be protected from Maya? Then Srila Prabhupada very nicely answered. We are thinking like we are better than Maya, but Maya is so strong that like even a moment of space needed to pull us out from like wherever position we are in. Correct. The examples are Bharata Maharaj, like who performed more than he kind of like taken the effort to come to forest like after ruling more than 1,00,000 years, correct? So that is how he strongly like determined to perform the devotion, but just a scene like which the deer was trying to be saved from the attack of a lion, and immediately like he got attracted to the deer. So that one moment, the same with Saubharya Muni also, same with Vishwamitra, like but we have seen like many Ajamila, etc., etc. So the Maya is so strong, and we have to have the determination to understand, okay, our real position of the with the Lord. And you covered it very nicely, Prabhu, that like okay, the moment of flickering happiness what we get in this material world is nothing compared to the spiritual bliss like which we can get it from the Goloka. So many a times like we often see any difficult time comes, the devotee takes it lightly, correct? Like because he sees the opportunity in every problem, but others see like okay problem in every opportunity, correct? So devotee sees opportunity in every problem, like how we can get connected to Krishna for whatsoever difficult situation we faces. Like we see how Prahlada was determined to perform his devotional service, how Dhruva Maharaj was determined in performing his devotional service, how our great like Namacharya was determined in performing his devotion service, how Jadabharta or the Jatayu was like determined in performing the devotional service. Like so one moment is needed to pull us out from the devotion service, and one moment is only needed to perform the devotion service. So having that particular consciousness in our mind, if we have the intention to perform the devotion service, if we have the desire to perform the devotion service, like then Krishna will sanction because at the end of the time, so he is in our heart, and he told like to Arjuna, my devotee never perishes, correct? Shipram bhavati dharmatma sastram shantim richadi kaunteya pratijani name bhaktya pranashyati. So having that particular affirmation from Krishna, so we don't need to worry like what is going to be the destination. If we feel connected to Krishna, and if we determine in performing devotion service, if we have the desire to perform the devotion service, because that laulyam, tatra laulyam, apimulya ehalam, like okay, that is the only thing that desire and is the only thing needed like to do in the devotion service. If you desire for performing, okay, Krishna, I want to offer something to you, then Krishna will fulfill like by hook or crook, like that is how he arranges, and he fulfills the desires of the devotee. But if we have the desire like to enjoy the material nature, that also he sanctions. At the end of the day, he is kind enough, like he is compassionate enough, is merciful enough, like to let us know this is not the right way after a period of time. So that's how Kardam Muni, Devahuti, like he got it after enjoying with Kardam Muni for so many years, correct? So having all these personalities like pastimes remembering, then we will be able to we will be able to we will try to do the devotional service with the Association of the Devotee as 3.25.25 clearly explains Kapila Muni to devotee, like how easily we can perform the devotional service. Satam prasangam mama virya samvido bhavanti riturna rasayana kadaga yajoshanat apavarkavardhoni shraddha ratir bhaktir anukramishadi. So having that particular thought in mind, I pray to Lord, like we will all do the devotional service with the Association of Devotees. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Thanks
Krishna.
so sorry for taking little long time. I never thought like I'll speak this much. Hare Krishna.
Hare
It was
Krishna.
flowing.
Thank you, Prabhu.
With the influence of you, it was flowing, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu, for your blessings. Wonderful points. Hare Bol.
Thank you. Now I would like to add my input. So very nice presentation, Prabhuji, especially the comparison of pleasure experienced by materially conditioned souls and also the levels of those living beings they get on different degrees. So, and also my takeaway would be like the statement which you have mentioned in your slide, Maya overpowers and underdelivers, and your power
Over promises.
overcomes and underdelivers. Yeah. So, and very nicely explained that causes, effects, and like how to overcome that eternal enemy. So obviously we are we have that minute independence. So if we misuse that independence, then obviously we will get into that trouble. So, but when that lusty desires are popping up in our mind, then using our intelligence, independence, and also with that knowledge, we have to reject that sinful thoughts. But if we are misusing that, then obviously it will become into action and we get entangled. As Raghunath Swami Maharaj gives a wonderful example that when a wound develops in our hand, and if we are itching on that wound, if we scratch a little, okay, that itching sensation will go away, right? So, but if we are, that's also like if that itching, if that also impulses a person to do more and more. So the skin becomes red and like we can't take off our hand from that wound. So it will, like if we are doing the scratching more and more, then that wound will, it will worsen that wound more and more. But if we have that self-control and if we are tolerating that urge to scratch in the very first time, and like we won't be given up to the scratch to second or third time. So likewise, if we are giving a way to the material desires, so it will overcome our thoughts and everything. So if we are tolerating that urges by our sense control and by using our intelligence, so we will get out of this material propensities and just by the good association. So, but if we are given up to this material propensities, then obviously we will be entangled in this material world. So this would be my takeaway, Prabhu. Hare Krishna once again for the very nice and inspiring session, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. So now I would like to check whether Purna Mataji is around, Prabhu.
No, she was there. Now she is not here, Mataji.
Oh,
She was
okay,
connected.
Prabhu.
Yeah, she is.
Okay, Prabhuji. So hope I didn't miss anyone else.
So Mataji, before you close, Mataji, just want to add that I mean everyone meant I just want to reiterate that your kirtans are really good, Mataji. So if I was able to deliver something today nice smoothly, it is because your kirtans motivated me, Mataji. So,
Oh, Hari
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hari Prabhu, so much for your blessings.
Don't pull her leg, Prabhu.
Wasn't he saying like, don't pull my leg?
No, not a chance, Mataji.
So we can stop the recording and we can switch